Almost instantly, when you watch it on playback, he got a dent in the side of his head, and the side of his face and his mouth was sort of dropped as he was trying to get up. He looked like he was in bad trouble, and he looked like he's sustained some damage there and some injury. I hope.
Replays, you can see Frazer's jaw kind of shaking. Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, very scary. And I hope that he has a speedy recovery.
In a wild rematch with Frazer Clarke, Fabio Wardley took a nasty hit, ending up with a serious dent in his head. In the first round, Wardley delivered a vicious left hook with brutal precision, his face showing fierce determination as the punch connected. Clarke, his expression shifting from focus to what resembled a stroke, was sent reeling back into the ropes, barely able to stay on his feet.
Body shots, the punches he was putting together for the finish, were European, maybe even world class. It was a fantastic heavyweight performance by Fabio Wardley, yes.
Facing Frazer Clarke for a second time in Riyadh, following their thrilling draw in March, Wardley entered the ring with both fighters keen to settle the score. As the fight approached, opinions were split, with many struggling to predict a clear winner. Frazer Clarke's injury is described as severe, with a likely broken cheekbone or orbital bone, and it's emphasized that he was knocked out but literally held up by the ropes.
Injuries in your time in boxing, where does that rate what you saw on Frazer Clarke's face?
Terrible. I think he's broke. I hope he's okay, by the way, but I understand he's broke either his cheekbone or his orbital, and he was out on the ropes. He was KO'd, and the ropes holding him up. Terrible.
However, the aftermath of the fight revealed the severity of the injury inflicted. Clarke was rushed to the hospital. Medical evaluations revealed a high fracture on his jaw. Meanwhile, Wardley celebrated not just his victory, but also expressed concern for his opponent. After successfully defending his British and Commonwealth heavyweight championships in Saturday's rematch, Wardley not only celebrated his victory, but also extended his best wishes to Clarke.
You never know it's over, because look, I've got him down before, he's got back up, and look, he's no slouch. He's not an Olympic bronze medalist for no reason. I'm sure he's been hit by some big people and got back up. So with him, he's got heart, he's got grit, he's got determination. So I never knew it was going to be over. I just knew if there was time on the clock that I was going to get him out of there. I wasn't going to let him lie.
The fight's aftermath was severe striking indentation marred Frazer Clarke's head after a devastating blow in the fight. Initially, his distorted facial expression raised alarm bells, making it seem as though he could be having a stroke.
Indentation in his face, which would suggest that maybe he shattered a cheekbone or something like that.
No, so I think it's deeper than that.
Yeah, I think you're probably, I've never seen an injury actually like that in boxing. As disfigured, it was horrendous.
When you look at the slow motion and you see the Fabio literally launches out, swings it in, lands everything, and you just see the glove, the knuckle part of the glove.
Critics highlighted Frazer Clarke briefly recovered, but was knocked out due to a lapse in focus, highlighting the unpredictability of boxing.
What did you think of that?
Wow, he switched off for 1 minute, the right hand, he was trying to recover, and then he took one, and he one more, and he was all over Roman.
You glad you signed him?
In response to the alarming situation, Neil Scott, the chief medical officer for the British Boxing Board of Control, explained that injuries like the one Clarke suffered are rare in boxing, but extremely painful. It's not common. We don't see it that often, Scott told Sky Sports. He described the injury as visually alarming, as it creates a noticeable dent on the side of the face due to the structure of the cheekbone. The force can push the bone inward, affecting the jaw's ability to open and close properly, causing extreme pain and distress. Typically, such injuries are seen from severe impacts like bricks rather than boxing gloves, highlighting the extraordinary force involved in Clarke's case. The day after the fight, news of Clarke's successful surgery brought some relief. Frazer successfully underwent a minor surgery today, said boxer promoter Ben Shalom on Sunday afternoon. The procedure went smoothly, and Frazer is in good spirits. He's feeling well and has been able to rest comfortably following the operation. His medical team is optimistic about his recovery, and he's shown great resilience throughout the process. With recovery on the horizon, Clarke's future prospects were discussed. He will head back to the UK this evening to further recover with his family, Shalom continued. He's feeling more motivated than ever to come back bigger and better in the new year. Frazer would like to sincerely pass on his thanks to the well-wishers who have offered their support, and we're all hoping for a speedy recovery. The boxing community reacted with astonishment at Wardley's performance. Critics were astonished by how quickly the fight ended, enthusiastically praising Wardley's explosive ability to string his punches together with precision and power.
Wow.
That is not what I expected at all, but that's what we spoke about. Fabio can just turn it on and put them shots together. He's out of it. He's vacant.
He does not know where he is, Frazer Clarke. He's been stopped in the very first round by Fabio Wardley with a massive overhand right.
Moreover, Wardley's tactical approach to the fight was commended. Wardley is praised for his smart tactics, strategically targeting Clarke's body to wear him down before delivering the knockout punch to the head, showcasing his boxing intelligence.
Let me ask Johnny Fisher. Johnny, does that put Fabio Wardley in the top 10 of the heavyweight division right now? The clinical finish. 100%. What we were just talking about in the studio, Fabio's got that ability to put shots together, that killer instinct that cannot be taught. And when you can do that as a heavyweight, you can put 5 or 6 punches together, you can take out anyone on your day.
Frazer Clarke, in contrast, started the fight sluggish and unfocused, while Wardley came out aggressive and sharp. His relentless pressure quickly exposed Clarke's poor defense, leaving him vulnerable early on.
What happened here is Frazer Clarke came out in round 1, very slow, a little bit switched off, not concentrating, and Fabio Wardley, total opposite to that, came out firing on all cylinders, sharp behind his jab, loading up that big right hand out of range, missing with a couple of them.
Despite some recklessness, Fabio Wardley maintained pressure, landing several right hands that hurt Frazer Clarke. Clarke was left defenseless, standing still with his guard down, leading to a decisive knockout punch that severely impacted Clarke, visibly damaging his head.
And giving Frazer Clarke the opportunity to counter him. I mean, it was a bit reckless at times, but he got the job done. Fabio Wardley went in there like a man on a mission, behind the jab, teeing up the big right hand. And to be honest, when Clarke sat there like a deer in the headlights, just waiting to be smacked upside the head, clumped. The last right hand that hit him, I mean, there was a couple of right hands that hit him and hurt him. He went down, he got up, and then he was just shell-shocked, stood there with his guard down, almost turning away, and Fabio Wardley took advantage. But
ultimately, this decisive victory positions Wardley for future opportunities. Wardley's quick and decisive victory is seen as a significant achievement, positioning him for bigger European and world-level fights. His dominant performance has established him as a rising contender in the heavyweight division.
Crunched Frazer Clarke. It was extraordinary, and Frazer Clarke did not get that jab going, which is what he needed to, and Fabio Wardley is dangerous and devastating.
Frazer Clarke met Gareth A. Davies, who later shared their conversation on his X handle. The boxing journalist revealed Clarke was in good spirits, despite having his jaw wired from 3 breaks. Davies wrote, "Just chatted to Big Fraze boxer at the airport in Riyadh 5 minutes ago. His wife was with him. He is feeling okay. Jaw is wired. Showed me pictures of the breaks. 3, I think. We on same flight to London overnight. V pleased to know that FC is okay." Boxing analyst Adam Smith hailed Fabio Wardley's first-round knockout of Frazer Clarke as a powerful statement, thrusting him into the spotlight. Though not yet among the elite like Martin Boley or Joe Parker, Wardley's name is now being mentioned alongside heavy hitters like Derek Chisora and Joe Joyce, marking his swift rise in the heavyweight ranks.
Well, it was a real statement from Fabio Wardley, wasn't it? A devastating first-round knockout, and Woody just catapults himself into the mix now. I wouldn't say into the sort of Martin Bakoli, Zhilai Zhang, Joe Parker mix just yet, but maybe just...
Adam Smith talks about Frazer Clarke's tough loss, explaining that Clarke had a shot if he used his jab well. But Wardley's strength and aggressive start overwhelmed him. Wardley landed key shots early, especially to the temple and body, leading to the knockout. Smith also praises Wardley's rise in the heavyweight division, noting how impressive it is for someone with no amateur experience to climb the ranks. He highlights Wardley's toughness and punching power, which make up for any lack of technical finesse. Smith emphasizes that in heavyweight boxing, raw power and resilience can sometimes be more important than experience, and Wardley has proven that with his success. In the heavyweight division, experience isn't always the key thing, especially if you've got athleticism. You've got punch power like Fabio. Do you think it's time people start giving him his flowers as a professional? He is what he is, right? He's knocked out David Adey, knocked out Nathan Gorman. I guess it's time to give him credit. Fabio Wardley's manager, Michael Magic, commented on the right hook that shook Frazer Clarke's jaw. He wished Clarke a speedy recovery and expressed respect for both fighters, recognizing the risks they take and praising their courage.
Word on that right hook that ended the fight. In the replays you can see Frazer's jaw kind of shaking. Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, very scary. And I hope that he has a speedy recovery. These guys are warriors and they put their life on the line. So even as a fan, I've got so much respect for them and I've got love for both of them. And I want to see Frazer Clarke make a speedy recovery and come back again.
What do you think both guys should do next?
You know, I'm not in the Frazer Clarke.
Michael Magic dismissed concerns about Fabio's nose injury, clarifying there was no real damage, just blood. Despite the visuals, Fabio was fine, and nothing was going to slow him down.
By 2 points.
Any concerns? You know, I know initially nobody was saying a lot about his nose. Were you guys genuinely concerned that could be an issue?
Listen, a little bit of concern in terms of it would have just been messy. But again, his nose was never broken. There was no ligament damage. There was no real issues other than just the cosmetics of bloods. But obviously it looks much worse from...
Michael Magic talks about how Fabio Wardley's team reviewed his last fight and spotted some mistakes. They worked on fixing those issues, and you could see that in how Fabio changed his approach. He targeted both the body and the head this time, which showed he had the right mindset going in. Michael says Fabio really wanted to prove himself as the top fighter and make sure his British champion title wasn't going anywhere. Even though Fabio's last fight wasn't his best, Michael still believes he won by 2 points. Fabio Wardley discusses how his journey in boxing has been unconventional, emphasizing that he has pushed through the scene despite his background. He expresses that defeating an Olympic bronze medalist in such a decisive manner makes a strong statement. Wardley aims to stand out, perform in style, and prove that with love, commitment, and dedication to boxing, anyone can achieve success in the sport.
As short a night as that.
Look, you're asking me what I'm doing when I'm here to rip up scripts. I'm here to do things different. I think a lot has been said about my background and kind of where I've come from and how I've forced my way through the boxing scene, I really think. And beating an Olympic bronze medalist tonight is really a statement. In the fashion is a statement as well. So, look.
Fabio Wardley reflects on his previous fight, admitting that his mistakes made it closer than it should have been. He acknowledges that he was sometimes lazy, too relaxed, and overconfident, which led to missed opportunities. Wardley explains that he was overly eager to finish the fight quickly, focusing on headhunting and throwing wild punches, which ultimately affected his performance.
13th.
I think in the last fight, I let it be close. My mistakes, let it be close. Me being lazy in some areas, being too relaxed in some areas. And
Fabio Wardley is asked if there is a heavyweight opponent who could take him to the next level. He responds by saying it's hard to identify the right matchup, reflecting on his first fight with Frazer Clarke, which was expected to be a good pairing, but he closed that chapter quickly. Wardley explains that it's unpredictable who the ideal opponent might be, but he remains open to facing anyone without turning down any challenges.
You're a heavyweight fighter that levels you up, that takes you into the next stratosphere where you want to be. It's available now.
I don't know. It's always a hard one to say. You never know who's the right kind of matchup, because obviously you look at the first fight of me and Frazer, and everyone would say he was my right dance partner, my right matchup. We gelled together well, which we did, but I closed the book on that very quickly, so you never know who's the...
Pro boxer Amir Khan reflects on Fabio Wardley's performance during his fight against Frazer Clarke, focusing on the concern for Clarke's health following the knockout. After Wardley's dominant first-round stoppage, Clarke appeared to be in poor condition, raising alarms about his safety. Khan emphasizes the emotional weight of witnessing such situations and mentions that his first thought was Clarke's well-being. Once Khan was assured Clarke was all right, he immediately contacted him to offer support, stressing that it's important to be there for fighters in tough times, especially after a significant loss. He expresses confidence that Clarke will recover, noting Clarke's toughness and resilience. Amir added, "He'll be back from that. But of course, on my message, Fabio, it's some wonderful win for Fabio Wardley. One of the great tales, Jim, that's really not been told yet." Former pro boxer Carl Froch reflects on Frazer Clarke's late professional start and suggests that after this serious knockout, his career might be nearing an end. He emphasizes that health should take priority over continuing to fight, using examples like Anthony Joshua to highlight the importance of stepping back when physical well-being is at risk.
Like he was in bad trouble, and he looked like he's sustained some damage there and some injury. I hope that he fully recovers from that, and I hope there's no lasting effects and no future problems for him. But that looked like a bad punch that landed square on the side of their head, left the dint like I've said, and it looked like it did some serious damage. So hopefully Frazer Clarke makes a full recovery from that, but it's getting on now. He turned pro late, Olympic bronze medalist. We expected him to go on and do well as a professional. He's had a slow burning career, and now after that beating, I think this may be the last we hear of him. People always say, oh, Froch is saying or telling people to retire. Listen, The health for me is paramount in boxing. Like I talked about Anthony Joshua when he got clipped a couple of times, then dropped in round 5 by Daniel Dubois. It's the health that's more important. Forget the old Bunsen burner. There comes a stage when you count your pennies and you say, actually, I've smashed it. I've won in life. Now my health's more important than anything.
Carl Froch expresses concern about the serious damage Frazer Clarke sustained from the knockout, particularly the visible dent in Clarke's head. He hopes Clarke fully recovers and emphasizes the importance of health in boxing over career longevity. Froch praises Fabio Wardley's performance, acknowledging that Wardley has exceeded expectations despite having no amateur background and coming from a white-collar boxing scene. He highlights Wardley's fairy tale rise and how he's defended his British title multiple times, demonstrating knockout power in almost all of his wins. Froch suggests that Wardley continues to prove doubters wrong with each victory. Froch advises that Fabio Wardley's management should be patient with his development, as Wardley is still relatively young at 29 or 30. While Froch believes Wardley is nearing the point where he should take on tougher opponents, he suggests that a fight with Joseph Parker could be a wise next step to further Wardley's progress. Fabio Wardley's devastating right hook sealed his victory, but the brutal nature of the fight left Frazer Clarke with a serious injury. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates and highlights from the world of boxing.